Hello and welcome to Global Fabric Day 2026. So excited to have everyone here today. We've had over 350 people sign up for the event, which we love, and so excited to have everyone here. That said, I'm going to go ahead and make sure that everybody knows to join us here for this opening session and where the link is. I'm going to actually just send that out through Luma. Okay, so I've done that. So throughout the sessions today, I will be, well, a couple things. One, we'll be moving from session to session. It just makes watching the replays much easier and kind of keeps us focused on topics. So this is an opening 30 minutes, just kind of get you oriented to the day, tell you what we're going to cover, and just begin and welcome everybody. And we still have a lot of ground to cover here. And then we'll move to through the sessions 1 through 5, and I'll kind of run through how they're structured. Introducing myself, our mods. We have different mods who will be joining us throughout the day. So again, welcome everybody. So happy to have everybody here. We are part of a global event happening that is organized by Kim Manis, who is the Corporate Vice President of Product for Microsoft Fabric, and we'll be hearing from her. She sent a video for us to share in a bit today. And yeah, some of our mods are joining us. And we truly ourselves represent a very international presentation panel. So myself, hello, I'll be introducing ourselves in a minute when I go through the slides, but I would just say that for those of us on stage right now, we're representing the Americas, Africa, and India. So just there, we are quite global. So really want to know where everybody is from. So hello, everybody. I'm going to yield to our mods to engage with the chat. And keep everybody engaged because I can't always see what's happening in the chat when I'm presenting, but excited to be here and sort of again welcome everybody. So thank you so much for joining us. Again, we have a lot of ground to cover today. All this will be available on replay. So we do hope you can engage live because we do cover a lot, but it's all here for you to go back and review. Lots of the information we're sharing today has come directly from the Fabric team and is part of Data Days. Which we're part of. So it kicked off June 15th and it will wrap up on August 7th. And we are part of the Location Intelligence and Security User Group. And so that's a big part of the presentation. So we have 7 events that are part of Data Days. So we just last week had our location intelligence, and we'll continue on Tuesday with a get to know Esri, which is going to be the where part of our session today. And then we also will be talking about security. We'll be talking about KQL, and I will get to the introductions part in a second. Anyways, opening session. So why organizations are standardizing on Microsoft Fabric is we're going to kind of cover in our introductions as well as sort of orienting you to the session today. And now I will go ahead and introduce the mods who will be joining us today. So, and now I can introduce myself. So for those who don't know me, hello, I'm Philippa Burgess. I just completed a few years in grad school. So actually 5 years that took me through a master's in urban planning, a GIS certificate, second master's in human security and geospatial intelligence, which is a USGIF, which is the association that's part of the NGA, National Geospatial Intelligence Agency, so it's a USGIF accredited degree, and then went on to get a certificate from the law school in privacy law and cybersecurity, and then realized it was only one more semester to get the full master's. So I now have a third master's in law as a master's in legal studies. So that's my background, and in all of my travels, I found that things were very siloed between geospatial, between cybersecurity, and then being a Microsoft student ambassador kind of on the AI track and realizing that I just felt there needed to be more conversations that security is not bolted on or geospatial is not bolted on, but we can start thinking about these things foundationally. And of course, now we've got AI agents and Fabric IQ and all of these new tools that are kind of coming in. So I thought this would be a great opportunity to have this kind of larger overview. So wherever you're at in data science, that you, or even if you're not thinking in data science. I think one of the things I noticed when I was doing a tour of my university's curriculum, that every single major had a course in data science. So data science to me is ubiquitous, as is security, and location intelligence can be as well. And then of course these other ways in which we ground intelligence. So I that's me, and that's kind of my passion, is for helping people like break down these silos, and wherever you're coming from, you're welcome, and then to expand your base of knowledge, and finding that these things can be quite approachable, and that there is a easy step for everybody to get started thinking about security, thinking about location intelligence, thinking about agents, thinking about ontologies, and just making your data science and your Fabric workflows just more useful and more approachable. And so that's me. But now I'm going to yield my stage. Lee, I'm going to invite you to introduce yourself.
Hi everyone, I am Lehlohonolo Mufula, but most people can pronounce my name, so I give them the name Lee. They can call me Lee. I'm an information systems informatics student at the Northwest University. I'm also a Microsoft student ambassador on the AI and data track. I currently work
Fantastic.
as a Northwest University student assistant, and I'll be a lead model and speaker for today.
Fantastic. Love it. And I'm going to lean on you, because we're just like I said, people are going to be kind of we have a long day today, so people will be popping in and out. So appreciate you and sort of helping me run the stage. And then Usman.
Hello everyone, my name is Mohammad Usman Khan from Pakistan. I'm also a Microsoft Student Ambassador performing my computer science right now in my bachelor's. So hopefully let's get this done perfectly. Let's hope it goes well. Thank you very much.
Fantastic. And we have Frank. I don't have Frank on stage, but Frank will be also participating in the chat. And if anybody is joining us and speaks French, he can answer your questions in French. I love that. Again, we represent a global community. So many languages are represented, many locations are represented. And of course, we've got South Asia, Pakistan, we've got South Africa, like I said, myself in the Americas. Frank is joining us from the DRC. So really happy to kind of have a very global stage and a very global audience. So love hearing where everybody is joining us from. If you want to drop that in the chat, you're welcome to. We would love to hear from you. Okay, let us get on to our agenda today. So the woven intelligence layer is what we're talking about now. And so what we're covering today, I just want to give you the logic of how this event was designed, with this concept of how, where, what, who, and now what. So the how is extending Fabric. So it's the ecosystem advantage, all of the tools and resources that are available to you. And then the where, it's the location intelligence, which often is the most overlooked business signal. So I have a degree in geospatial and GIS. And in learning that, we learned aspects of database management and SQL. We learned aspects of being better with Excel. We learned aspects of general data science principles, but it was its own siloed discipline. And I found that most people I talked to who came up with a more traditional data analyst or data science background really didn't look at that intelligence column. And now that Esri, who is one of the largest proprietary location GIS softwares or location kind of softwares, is integrating into Fabric, I just saw that was a wonderful opportunity to really train up more traditionally educated or experienced data analysts into this new functionality, so that they can embrace location intelligence without actually becoming GIS professionals, because there's levels to it. But to me, what the integrations that are happening now inside of Fabric are amazing, and some of them are in public preview, which means they're completely free for you to access. Some of them are now in general availability, so they do require a bit more enterprise license, but there's still a lot you can do just with your basic Fabric tenant. And there's also a lot you can do, and this is other things that I often teach, just working with a notebook anywhere, that you can start making your own chloropleth maps and heat maps and other things that you can do just in a notebook. So you can start working with the spatial components that are in your data. So that's the where. And the what, we'll talk about from data to intelligence. And we're getting into what we're learning about Fabric IQ and sort of ontologies. We're working with Fabric IQ, Fabric IQ is coming out, AI agents. So you can now sort of enable agents through MCP in Fabric. And so there's a whole conversation there that we'll have. That's also the point we'll introduce a session from Kim Manis and talking about sort of how excited they are about kind of the introduction of the AI agents into the Fabric ecosystem. And then we'll get into the identity, security, and agent governance. So that's the who has access to this data and everything from row level security, column level security, to identity access management, and just all the permissions and the importance that everybody on the data team is thinking about security and governance. And it's not that that's outsourced to someone else, but that's part of everybody's workflow. And then the now what, we'll talk about building careers, certification opportunities, and throughout the session, there'll be opportunities to get certifications as part of Fabric Data Days. There's also study groups. We're part of hundreds of community-led sessions that are happening over the 60 days of Fabric Data Days. So lots and lots of opportunities to get involved, get certified, get connected, and just up-level you and wherever you are to for where you are now, just take it to the next level. And so let's say talk about some of the problems we see in fragmented intelligence. Data teams, pipelines, lakehouses, and warehouses are often across 3 or more platforms. Security teams, governance and compliance are sort of often bolted on after the fact or just outsourced to like someone else will handle that. That's not my problem. AI teams, the models are trained, but it can be sort of on ungoverned or inconsistent data. So making sure, again, we're sort of really trying to bring all this together into sort of this integration. And as I mentioned before, that GIS location piece, now you have the ability to bring it in, but before it was sort of particularly siloed. So spatial analysis was not, considered as part of the enterprise data layer. And so now we have this, like I said, amazing opportunity to bring this all together. And that's what this event is about, is bringing in security thinking, location thinking, and the intelligence layer. So sort of a cost of a disconnected stack is the fragmented past. You had, again, separate GIS platforms, siloed Azure data and factoring it or Synapse, bolted on security tools, and multiple governance silos. So the result is organizations spend more time reconciling platforms than generating insights. Now, this unified feature, you've got sort of one lake as a single copy. Native Entra ID and Purview are now part of Fabric, built-in Esri location intelligence, and governed Fabric IQ. So we can move from a fragmented tools to a single unified intelligence layer. And so then we've got the legacy architectures of data engineering, spatial analytics, AI, ML, and security. And those legacy architectures brought us separate ETL pipelines and clusters, exported to isolated GIS portals, detached models with unverified outputs, and retrofitted per application on the security layer. And now Fabric is bringing us one lake and unified pipelines and warehouse. The ArcGIS is built directly into Power BI and Spark. Fabric IQ and Copilot are grounded on governed enterprise data, and Entra ID and Purview are native to the control plane. So we're connecting raw data to business action. So you've got your raw data moving to a governed lakehouse, to a semantic model, to AI and decision layers, and then to business action. And with this one platform, we have one governance layer, and then every workload now. So you've got the data engineering with pipelines and Spark and Lakehouse, data warehouse, SQL, real-time enterprise, real-time intelligence, streaming signals and analytics, Power BI, governed semantic models, and self-service BI. Fabric IQ agents, AI is the AI multiplier on top of governed data. And then the security and the governance, we've got Entra ID, Purview, and sort of zero trust concepts built in. And Fabric agents across the ecosystem. So now your agents can connect with your Microsoft 365, your AI, your Azure AI Foundry, your Copilot Studio, and external apps, via an MCP CRP server. So data agents reason over and synthesize OneLake data for insights. They enrich custom Copilots and M365 tools with deep data domain expertise, and security permissions of row-level security, column-level security are inherently respected across all endpoints. So why 2026 is the inflection year? So AI demand exposes data debt. Organizations trying to ship AI products are discovering their data is ungoverned, inconsistent, and untrustworthy. Governance mandates are accelerating. Regulatory pressure across finance, health, public sectors, forcing data accountability that Fabric provides natively. Real-time intelligence is production ready, so streaming architectures are no longer experimental. Fabric's RTI layer is enterprise grade in 2026. And partner and ISV ecosystem has matured. So Esri, Databricks connectors, and hundreds of ISV integrations mean Fabric is no longer an island. And so where Fabric was and where it's going, so 2025 laid that foundation of Lakehouse, real-time intelligence, Copilots reaching general availability. So Fabric becomes a default new project platform. And the convergence is now. So you've got AI, security, location come together. So governance first, AI deployments proliferate. And then as we move into 2027, it's deeper into the intelligence layer where a lot of the tools that are now in public preview will come into general availability, where Fabric becomes the enterprise operating system for AI agents and autonomous workflows. So the architecture of the agent brain, so you've got your GraphDB reasoning, translates user intent into executable GQL queries, traces explicit paths across nodes and relationships. Your SQL views and functions reuses trusted business logic and complex joins already enforced in SQL databases. And your MPC servers are managed model context protocol servers, enabled other AI systems to consume Fabric data agents securely. So unleashing the real-time code interpreter, you've got predict the total MAU over the next 3 years. So you've got actual versus forecast. And the action data agent generates and executes Python in real time to perform flexible deep analysis. The fallback, if an existing notebook or a SQL query cannot answer the prompt, the agent writes its own code. The security, all code runs entirely isolated in a sandbox compute environment, protecting the core tenants so that agents don't go rogue and delete things they should not be deleting or accessing information they should not access. And then location is that hidden KPI. So we can look at sort of where that column is that has the zip code, the country, the city, any location information. So you can now completely exploit and visualize that data. So used for filtering an aware clause, displayed as a flat label. Most data platforms stop here. We're now able to create, what proximity reveals, clusters that show real demand, and routes that reveal efficiency. So a single coordinated unlocks demographics, environment, and behavior. And then, of course, one of our GIS terms is spatiotemporal, which is, change over time. So you can see kind of how things move. So now we're kind of getting into the evolution. So we could talk about traditional, and now we're getting into the roles of location, analysis type, visual output, enrichment. So it's traditional versus spatial. Spatial gives you a continuous context for discovery, proximity routing, and spatial joins at scale, layered and interactive topological maps, and live connections to living atlas. So all of that, again, we're just touching on sort of things we're going to cover today. And just knowing that sort of when we're looking at the location intelligence, that now brings over 180 spatial functions to OneLake. So there's proprietary data, open source data, Spark native, spatial SQL libraries, highly scalable ETLs and corridor analysis, and it runs in data engineering and science notebooks, so that the data never needs to leave OneLake. So we've seen that it's gone from fragmented tools to a unified intelligence layer. You've got OneLake as a single data copy, unified pipeline and warehouse, Fabric IQ and governed AI, location intelligence is built in now with Esri, it's integration, your Entra ID and Purview native, and one governance model everywhere. So, and then we come into security. You've got your network and compliance. So private links, VNet integration, and Purview sensitivity labels, data level security. We talked about RLS and column level security, as well as OLS, object level security. So that's enforced natively in semantic models. Platform, role-based access controls. So workspace roles, admin, member, contributor, viewer, so managing access boundaries. And then identity, Entra ID, the control plane for all human and non-human principles, conditional access, and MFA. So I do a lot of these events, and one of our events we did was a review of 2025's attacks, breaches, and data leaks. And the big takeaway from that event was the biggest breach is the machine identities, because we give these agents controls and access that aren't often checked and aren't often reviewed, and they don't need to do this sort of multi-factor authentication. So that's one of the things to really be aware of, is what permissions your agents have and how often you renew their credentials, and really limiting where they can go and what they can do, and also seeing that they create another vulnerability that other people can also exploit. So being aware that agents are amazing, but they do add another security control, which is one of the reasons I'm a big advocate for that cybersecurity awareness, that we all need to do our part to have a security mindset and not just outsource that and say, oh, someone else is going to handle that. And then with ArcGIS maps, there's an integrated security across the entire stack as well. So enforcing boundaries at the semantic level, we've talked about that. It's oftentimes the most underused yet powerful security capability in Fabric deployments. And so being really thoughtful about that, we're going to cover that. And then we've got governing the AI agent. So making sure you have a service principal identity, that the agents operate via Entra ID, service principals, ensuring app-based access without human identity borrowing. And then gate 2, least privilege scope. Agents are restricted to read-only access on the minimum required surface data, never workspace admin. And you've got human in the loop. We just actually came off of an AI skills hackathon. And one of the things that was the first part of the video they had us watch was talking about really shouldn't be actually even called human in the loop anymore. It should actually be human in the lead, and not just, again, sort of outsourcing these things or saying, oh, the AI will do its thing and we'll just check in on it. It really is making sure that we're leading AI and we're making sure it's set up properly and it's doing the things we want it to do. And the core message is that AI agents are now principals in your environment, so treat them with zero trust. And establishing the agent perimeter. Again, these are things we're going to talk about today. So outbound access protections, block all outbound traffic by default, preventing data exfiltration. Granular workspace level controls, allow specific approved exceptions. And you've got total observability via Microsoft Purview. So you have your audit logs, you have your prompt tracking, you have your sensitivity monitoring. So assume breach and enable Purview from day one for full AI accountability. And so zero trust diagnostics, human versus machine. Dimension 1, identity authentication. Dimension 2, access boundaries. Dimension 3, action oversight. So you have your human analyst uses Entra ID via MFA and device compliance, but your AI data agent can use system assigned managed identity and service principal. Your human analyst workspace RBAC and row level security. So hard-coded workspace perimeter, outbound access protection. And data purview also enables data loss prevention, so DLP policies. And with your AI agent, purview agent, prompt logging, and human loop write approvals. So we're bridging time and space with real-time intelligence. Again, things we're going to get into. We have a whole dedicated session on KQL, Kusto query language, because what I was finding in my studies is that it's really often used in Fabric, and it's very much on all the DP 600, DP 700, DP 800 exams. But as I'm also studying cybersecurity, there was a lot of like KQL in how you read and analyze logs. And I was like, oh, that's interesting to see that KQL is so used in data science, and KQL is so used in the data analysis part of cybersecurity. And I was like, oh, but I still feel these communities are so siloed. I was like, let's bring them together and have a conversation about how KQL is used in both data science and in cybersecurity. And that, yeah, so we just want to make sure that our thinking is that security and governance are built in, not bolted on. and be thinking about how you're using Entra IDs, Microsoft Purview, row-level security, private links in VNet, and sensitivity labels. They're all in Microsoft Fabric for you. And the whole event and sort of our whole user group's kind of reason to be is this intersection of value, bringing in agents, the intelligence, bringing in location, bringing in security, and the intelligent agent wand to ask to analyze data, continued supply chain vulnerability. So the conclusion is they're no longer separate disciplines. They can be part of a single continuous workflow. And that's what we're here to talk about today. So we're going to go through accelerating the ecosystem and cross skills. So we'll kind of wrap this up with your next 90 days. And that is it. That brings us to the end of session 1. I'm just going to turn it over to our mods. How are you guys doing? How's it going in the chat?
Oh, we're good. The chats are okay. The chats are buzzing.
Okay, good. All right. We do ask everybody kindly to join us from session to session, and we do that, just like I said, it makes the replays really clean, and it just, yeah, that's kind of why we do it. It just kind of keeps the session separate. So we're going to jump over. I'm going to go ahead and just put that into our Luma for all of our attendees that we will be so you guys all have the YouTube link. So we're going to go ahead and join you there. And yeah, I just love to keep this interactive. Love the energy. Love so much appreciation to the mods for being here and for chatting with us and just being engaged in the chat. And excited to see you all in the next session where we begin the conversation on how. And I also, like I said, very shortly thereafter, I will have a video from Kim Manis to share with all of you, who is the corporate vice president of product for Microsoft Fabric and was the lead on our global Fabric Day. And the fact that we have just, again, such an international community, and even on our stage right here, we represent the Americas, Africa, Pakistan. So just love that our audience obviously is joining us from around the world as well. So welcome everybody, and thank you so much. And we'll look forward to seeing you in just a moment. See you there.